So present perfect tense and the simple past tense. So the simple past tense, as the name denotes, we can tell that it's in the past, which means that we use simple past tense when we're talking about something that has started and ended in the past. So the simple past tense of most verbs, okay, of the majority of verbs, end in ed. So when you have verbs that end in ed, when used in past tense, we call them regular verbs. Regular because they all follow the same rule. All will end with ed. For example, open becomes opened, bake becomes baked, pull becomes pulled, listen becomes listened. So it's very easy to remember because all of it have the same ending. So examples of simple past tense that are used in sentences. Let's start with the first one. Mom opened the door for us. Or like the fourth sentence, we visited our uncle last week. Note how all of these sentences, the first sentence till the eighth sentence, all have verbs with ed at the end. So these are all regular verbs. The simple past tense is very easy to form even if you don't know it by heart. If you know the verb and if you know that it is a regular verb, you can simply add an ed and it automatically becomes the past tense form. For example, jump. You take the root word jump and you add an ed and it becomes simple past tense verb. So there are some spelling changes. For example, if you have words that end with e, like agree, or hate, or live, or die, you don't have to add an extra e. Since the word already ends with an e, you can simply just add a d at the end. For example, agree becomes agreed, hate becomes hated, die becomes died, and live becomes lived. You do not have to add an extra e, and instead you just add one letter, which is D. So if it's certain words like fan or pat, grab, rip, nod, or slam, these words are a little special because you have to double the last letter. For example, if it's fan, you have to add another N because N is the last letter in this case. You add one N and you add ED only after you've added the last letter of the word. So fan is spelled with a double N. Padded is spelled with two T's. Grab is spelled with two B's, grabbed. Rip is also spelled with two P's. So for these words, you have to double the last letter before you add the ed. And then there are words that end with y, like bury or fry or carry or pry. And for these words, you have to remove the y, and then you add an I, and then you add the ed. So bury becomes buried. You take out the y and you add an IED. And you automatically have the simple past tense of the verb bury.